What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Uncle Fred back in the house one more again. Back in the house, trying to give you some more content. Go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe button, become a part of the Uncle Fred experience. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Like I said, go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe. Tell your friends about Uncle Fred. Tell your friends about the content your boy Uncle Fred is putting out at least 2, 3, 4 times a week on pertinent matters in the athletic arenas. So we're coming to you today. You know when we come to it Saturday, so you know what I'm talking about. It's Saturday, so I just got finished watching the Alabama game. They won 42-35 over Arkansas Razorbacks. They won, but it wasn't impressive. But that's not what you came here for. But you know, it's Saturday. That's what my Saturdays consist of: watching the Alabama games early and prepping and putting together the Cowboy preview game for the game on Sunday. So that's what I'm here for today. So it finally comes to this: Cowboys versus the Kansas City Chiefs. What many would have billed probably maybe not at the beginning of the season, but as the season progressed, maybe a Super Bowl preview. But as maybe Kansas City fell on some hard times and Dallas we just took off. Maybe for Kansas City, not so much. But Kansas City seems to have found their stride. They seem to have found their mojo. They seem to have got that swagger back. Oh, y'all didn't know nothing about that? Okay. Yeah. What they was talking about last week, they got their swagger back. So swagger is just another word for confidence. They got their confidence back, and confidence is a big thing. So they got their confidence back. They've got 3 straight wins. They won over the New York Football Giants on Monday Night Football. Wasn't very impressive, but they won. A win is a win. They won over the Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers last Sunday night, 13-7. And then they had a win wasn't Sunday night. It was Sunday afternoon. It was a 3:00 game 2 weeks ago. And then last week, they got a good win over a good Raiders team that I picked to win that game. They won 41-14. Patrick Mahomes threw for over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. And they won 41-14. That game was never even close. They had like 520 yards of offense. Okay. So that's what we're going to be facing this week. So before we get into the game, let's kind of give you the particulars. Some of the things that's going on with the Cowboys. Now, some of the news that have transpired within the last week since we talked, we know that it's been talked about that motivational tactics that Mike McCarthy used when they got their butts kicked by the Denver Broncos. That's been talked about. They used some ointment that's called monkey butt or something like that. And I like how all of the news people, the talking heads, and all the people was talking about, man, that's just the dumbest thing. I know their players are sitting there looking at him sideways, like, really, coach, you came up with that? But a lot of times, let me tell you something. The outside, a lot of times, don't know how a certain thing plays on the inside of an organization or inside of a family, inside of a church, you may not know how a certain thing plays. It's kind of sort of like, you ever notice how two people might be talking and there are 2 people that have like a sort of an intimate relationship with one another? I don't mean like male, female intimate. I mean like they know each other real well, and they may say something and they'll just start laughing about it, and then you're sitting there looking at it like, what the heck is they talking about? Why is that funny? And they was like, no, that's sort of an inside thing. You kind of would have to have understood some things and whatnot, and we're not going into all that right now. But it's funny because we understand what that comes from. And sometimes maybe some of the things, the corny little things that Mike McCarthy does, maybe in that locker room, they kind of get it. They like, okay, this is Mike being Mike. Yeah, okay, Mike, we got you, man. All right, we got our butts kicked, so we get this little monkey butt paste to put on so we can get ready to go for the next game. And so maybe that plays to them as being funny because it's like an inside joke, And so, I'm looking at it like maybe it's like that. And I know a lot of times the media wants to make things like, well, that's the dumbest thing ever, and that's the craziest thing ever. but a lot of times they don't know how a certain thing might play in the locker room amongst that select group of people. They may look at something a totally different way than an outsider might, because they, it's an inside joke. It's an inside thing. So anyway, but yeah, they did that, and everybody made a big thing about it. Okay, and on the surface, it might seem, okay, Mike, you really reached for that one. That's not, but inside the locker room, that might, that might be something, something they may like. Yeah, that's, that was cool for him to do that, to look at that like that, and who knows. But that was said, and that went on and stuff like that. But here's some of the things that we need to know. I'm gonna try to give you the things you need to know so you make your opinions and do what you need to do for. But the Cowboys got some bad news on Friday afternoon. It's apparent that superstar wide receiver Amari Cooper will not play Sunday. Okay, he has been placed in protocol. Okay, will not be playing Sunday. Will not be available. So that kind of changes things, because before that, I was like, man, our offense is going to be unstoppable. I know Kansas City's offense is good. Our defense is going to have their hands full with them, but our defense is a little better than theirs, and we're going to get a stop here and there where I don't think they're going to stop us at all. But the absence of Amari Cooper changes things a lot. Now, I know CeeDee Lamb gets the bigger catches and does all that, but Amari Cooper is kind of like the old wily vet, the savvy vet, the granddaddy of the wide receiver crew, that kind of make sure the guys are doing what they're supposed to do, make sure they run that route right. And they come to him for advice on a lot of things that he's not going to be available, not even going to be on the sideline. So that's that's a big thing, Now, do I think Michael Gallup, who's back, and we're glad to have Mike back, welcome back, number 13. And CD, will they be enough? And then you put Cedric Wilson, who filled in admirably for Michael Gallup in the 6-7 weeks he was out. Do I think they got enough? And then you add in Dalton Schultz. Well, I think they got plenty enough. And then with our offensive line and stuff, I think they got plenty enough. It's just that's just takes it down a half a step. Okay, there's going to be some third downs that it's supposed to be a 9-yard flare out. Murray's going to be right on that particular 9-yard route, right on where it's supposed to be, and it's a first down. With some of the younger guys, it might not be as, I don't know. But anyhow, so that's that. Then there's this. We've kind of had a shakeup in the offensive line. Many might not have not, all the Cowboy fans, I guarantee you paid attention to it. Number 52. I've heard 52 so many times coming from the referee. I was almost thinking that they, that's a number they see in their sleep. Because I always call him number 52. Didn't know it, but number 52, who is Connor Williams, has 13 penalties in the 9 games we've played. Okay. The most penalized offensive lineman in the NFL. Now, Cowboys seem to think that some of his penalties might be, sometimes guys get picked on because they got a reputation for doing certain things. If anybody or NBA fans remember back in the 90s, Rasheed Wallace used to get technicals just if he looked wrong because he always got technicals. Same thing for Meta World Peace, him and now Draymond Green, guys like that, they get penalties just because of what's my man's name that played at Kentucky? God, he used to get stuff because the refs just did not like him. Big dude from Kentucky. Cannot think of his name. But he used to get technicals, get thrown out of games. He got thrown out of a game in an NBA game about 2-3 years ago because one of the players on the other team lost their shoe in the middle of the court. And he just flipped it off the court so nobody would run over it and get hurt. And he got a technical. Boogie Cousins, DeMarcus Cousins, that's his name. So maybe Connor Williams might be getting the DeMarcus Cousins, the Rasheed Wallace treatment, because referees got to call something. And because a lot of the calls he make, I'm like, okay, yeah, he did. Some of them, I'm like, dude, man, that happens on every play. Why you singling? And a lot of times it comes on big play. We done got a first down, and here's a flag on. He done did something, but so So what they have worked on trying to do is trying to replace him at the left guard position, which is next to Tyron Smith, who's left tackle. So they had kind of been working on trying to get Connor McGovern, one of their draft picks a couple of years ago, to take his position. Now, he played a little bit some in the first game when, of course, Zach Martin was out and they was kind of in a shuffle. But the thing is, they were kind of trying to do the thing in secret, trying to like, okay, we're going to work this thing. We'll try to see what we get out of it and try to. And because as an offensive player, an offensive coach or whatever, you don't want the other team to know certain things until it's the last possible moment. I'll give you a perfect example. Nobody knew in the Minnesota game that Dak wasn't playing. It was believed all the way up to kickoff that Dak was going to play until they sprung the surprise on us. Now, Minnesota was probably preparing for Dak all week. Ain't looked at nothing, a Cooper Rush, and they sprung that on him. That's how you kind of want to do it, okay? And that's kind of how they was doing this. But alas, somebody went to 105.3 The Fan and spilt the milk. And I'm giving you 3 guesses who you think that might have been. Yeah. 1, Jera Wayne Jones. Jerry Jones. And you know how I ain't got no use for Jerry Jones and his whatever. I know he does a lot and whatever, but I think he does a lot of things that hurt the Cowboys and keep them from winning for his own glorification, his own gratification, and things of that nature, and things that don't help the Cowboys in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And in other words, and in many times it creates minefields that they got to duck and dodge around to keep from getting blown up, keep the team together. So when I see Dak having the kind of year he's having, when I see CeeDee Lamb having the kind of year he's having, when I see Kellen Moore and having the kind of success he's having calling plays, I'm understanding that they're having to carry the albatross around their neck known as Jerry Jones around, because he does as many things to help the team as he hurt the team as he does to help them. So Mike McCarthy was trying to keep this on lockdown until maybe the day of the game and whatnot. But Jerry went on the news today. Yeah, we're going to go with Conor McGregor in left tackle, left guard. Hey, Jerry. And I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not a big thing, but, that's just one less thing, because now they know they can put in a game plan for him, because, on the road, they're going to always attack the weakest offensive lineman. Because obviously, when a loud place like Arrowhead, it's going to be hard to know the snap count. You're going to be a half a beat slow because you don't want a false start. So a lot of times the defensive lineman gets a jump on you, So, you kind of want to play the cards close to the vest. And Jerry just lay his out on the fan because he wants to show you how knowledgeable he is. Okay. So that got said. And so they was doing that. And of course, now the other thing is, we're thinking that maybe Tyron Smith, who's got an ankle thing going on, he's practiced some, but in limited capacity this week. He may play, but might not play the full game. And certainly you want to maybe limit him because, we got to turn right around and play Thursday on Thanksgiving against the Raiders. So if he plays some this game, maybe save him some so he can play some then. And if he plays the full game today or tomorrow, I guarantee he won't be playing against the Raiders. They'll be putting in Ty Nsekhe, or they'll move around Steele over there and, work it that way. And so there's some things going on with the offensive line and going on. And, of course, Amari's out. Boss Man Fad is out. I think he's got some personal things. He's out. And I think Nashawn Wright, who's the rookie, these are 2 rookies they drafted, one out of Oregon State, Nashawn Wright, and then big Boss Man Fad's Kelvin Joseph out of Kentucky. They might not play. I think they've elevated 2 practice squad people because you kind of need them guys for special teams too. You got to, field a, 11 player, lineup for special teams. You're not putting CeeDee Lamb where he can return kicks or whatever, but you're not putting all your lead guys on special teams. So you got to have enough guys to play special teams, and then he can play some nickel and dime coverages and stuff like that. So we won't have those guys. So that's kind of troubling. You down a couple of corners playing against Patrick Mahomes. So you got that going against you. Then on the other side of the coin, I just heard today they just activated Clyde Edwards-Helaire from the injured reserve, and he's available to play. So he's arguably, I think it's pretty much a done deal. He's their best running back, and he got hurt a few weeks ago. I want to say it was against Buffalo, and he's not been back. And then he's back now, and so that's just an extra offensive weapon we got to worry about. So here we go. Cowboys come out for a monster win, 43-3 over the Atlanta Falcons, who turned right around on Thursday night and lost 25-0 to the New England Patriots. And that wasn't, and that's looking like that wasn't really that great a win. Even though Atlanta was coming off a win over New Orleans the week before. And as it was said, Kansas City's coming off that big win over the Las Vegas Raiders. So Cowboys come in leading the league in offensive statistical categories, leading the league in points per game, averaging 31.6 points per game, and yardage 432.9 yards per game. Their defense, right in the middle, they're about 15th. They're averaging about 21.7 points per game, giving up. Kansas City comes into the game averaging 26.2 points per game, which is about 15, and giving up 24.1 points a game, which is around 20th, 21st, 22nd, something like that, 23rd. So it's the lower third of the league in average of defense. And of course, they're leading the league or close to leading the league in turnovers. So they're turning the ball over at an alarming rate. Patrick Mahomes himself got 10 interceptions thrown, and I think he's got a couple of fumbles too. So he's got like 12 turnovers by himself. But Cowboys is led by one Rain Dakota Prescott, who comes in with 2,341 yards, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, completing like 70.1% of his completions. And then my man Patrick Mahomes, who I affectionately call Pat, he's coming in with 2,940 yards completed pass yardage for 25 touchdowns, and as said before, 10 interceptions. But it is important to note though that the Cowboys have played 9 games because they're 7-2, and of those 9, Dak has played 8. The Chiefs have played in 10 games, and of those, Mahomes has played in all 10. So he's played in 10 games to amass his 2,940 yards, which basically is 294 yards a game. And you factor in Dak Prescott in 8 games is averaging 200, is giving 234. So 8 goes into that. So he's right at 30, right at 300 yards a game. Just under 3, just under 3. So they're right around the same when you average out the amount of games played. On the ground, Cowboys are led by Ezekiel Elliott, who has 663 yards on 142 carries on 7 touchdowns. So that's about mid-4s per carry. And Tony Pollard is with 83 for 445 and 1 touchdown. And then of course the Kansas City Chiefs come in with their leading rusher being Darrell Williams, and he has 343 yards and 4 touchdowns. And then of course Clyde Edwards-Helaire has 64 carries for 304 yards and no touchdowns. So that's who's there. Now, wide receiver range. We know that Kansas City throws it way more than they run it. We're around 50-50. That's what kind of makes us hard to defend, because we can pass it as well as we run it. You put it, you go with a loaded box to stop Zeke. We'll just throw it to the one-on-one covered receivers and tight ends. You go to nickel and dime. We'll just hand it to Zeke against a 6 or 7 man front, or Tony Pollard against a 6 or 7 man front, and get 5, 6, 7 yards. So we can, any way you want to play it, we can play it. That's the secret sauce of the Cowboys. We can play the game however way you do it. You go with the single high safety. We're throwing the ball. You go with too high safety, we're gonna run it because that's gonna mean single coverage in a light box. So we do it either way you want. We play it any way you want. But we know that the Chiefs are pass happy, so their receivers are going to have substantially more yards than ours. Okay, I think I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire wrong. He was 65 carries for 300. That's right. I had it right. My fault. Can't read my own writing sometimes. But anyway, you go with the Chiefs. They're led by obviously the cheetah, Tyreek Hill. 75 catches for 855 yards and 8 touchdowns. Count them, 8. As bad as the offense has been looking and that little losing streak they had, Tyreek Hill is still having a very, very good season. And then Travis Kelce, 62 catches for 747 yards and 5 touchdowns. So both of those guys are both better than our top guys. And heck, even their third receiver, because the other wide receiver has always been a point of contention. We've talked about that. That was why a lot of people thought they may have could make a play for OBJ because they really hadn't got good production out of Mecole Hardman, Keith Pringle, or Marcus Robinson. But Mecole Hardman has 40 catches for 399 yards. It says 10 yards a catch, though. That's really not much in 1 touchdown. Keith Pringle, 27 for 301 and 3. Marcus Robinson, 16 for 176 and 2. So, and of course, now the Cowboys, we led with by CeeDee Lamb with 47 catches for 726 yards. And you see he's got high yardage. So he's our deep threat. He's averaging almost 20 yards a catch and 6 touchdowns. And then Amari Cooper, who's not playing, but I'm going to give you stats anyway, 44 for 583 and 5. And then, of course, Cedric Wilson, who filled in admirably with 19 for 280 and 3 touchdowns. He has three touchdowns. So that's where we're at now. Gallup, 7 catches for 78 yards, and really he's only played like 1 game. He played a half of the Tampa Bay game in game 1, and then he was on a pitch count in the game. He came back against the Falcons, and I think he had like 4 catches or something like that. So he's got 7 for 78, and we look for a big game out of Michael to Gallup today. I think he's gonna get behind some guys, and we're gonna look for Cedric to be the possession guy, and I look for CD to go get it. So let's see what we got, man. So those are the guys. Those are the numbers. Those are the statistics. Those are the scenarios. Okay. So you mix all that up. We got the Cowboys. With Amari out. That's a big thing. Then you got the offensive line kind of flux. Not a good thing when you're on the road in a hostile place, especially a place like Arrowhead, which is supposed to be like one of the loudest places in the NFL, even though it's an outdoor stadium. Usually factor the indoor stadiums for that, because the sound stays in, but whatever. But anyhow, so you got that going, and then you get Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming back, and that's an extra weapon. So if we had asked me midweek, I'm thinking Cowboys 35. Chiefs 17. They win by a couple of scores because I just think that we're gonna be able to get ahead of them, and then I think we just keep pouring it on, and then we force Pat to a couple of mistakes. Now we're down Amari Cooper. I keep wanting to say CeeDee Lamb. Down Amari Cooper, and offensive line kind of jumbled up and whatnot. They're making changes on the road in this game. I think there's going to be a couple of protection issues. I think maybe Dak gets sacked a couple times on third critical down. Maybe we don't get a conversion on that's caused by and everything. So, but I still think we can win this game, man. I just think it's going to be a whole lot closer now than it was. And make no mistake about it. Let's just cut to the chase here. Chiefs need this game far worse than we do because they would be 6-5. Do you guys realize Patrick Mahomes never lost 5 games in the season ever? ever. And they go 6-5 and move to the bottom of their division. There's a good chance if some things go this way or that way, it's a chance they may not make the playoffs. I know they probably will. I'm just saying it just makes it an uphill battle for them. But if we lose, okay, we're 7-3. We still leading our division by 3 games. We're fine. We're still gonna make the playoffs. But I think for the Cowboys, you want to make a statement that you are one of the teams to be reckoned with. You can go on the road, shorthanded to a degree, and beat a quality team that's coming off of a great win in their building. That's a win that you hang your hat on at the end of the season. So that's what we're playing for. That's what Dak's playing for. That's what CD's playing for. That's what Zeke's talking about. That's it. And I know they tried to downplay it because I think Jerry said something about this would be a hallmark victory, and people made light of it. I'm like, you're the Cowboys. How's that a hallmark? Dude, although we've got a great pedigree, Cowboys have 5 Super Bowl championships. Cowboys have been to the playoffs probably more than any team and have won the second most Super Bowls. The Steelers have 6. Patriots have 6. And Cowboys and the 49ers have 5. Okay? So we're in that, of the elite teams in terms of that. Now, for the last 20 or so years, we've not been to the playoffs, but, about 4 or 5 times in the last 20 years. Only won 2 playoff games. So you got to kind of move the scale down a little bit when you've seen and done and experienced what we've experienced the last 20 or so years. So, and knowing that the Kansas City Chiefs have gone to the last Super Bowls and have represented the AFC the last 2 years and have been to the AFC Championship game the last 3 years. They are the creme de la creme. Now, I know they fell on hard times there, but to go into their building and beat them is a big deal. Okay? I don't care if they are 6-4. I don't care if they are, kind of wetting the bed against Tennessee and wet the bed against Buffalo and, some of the other teams they lost to. They've got some bad losses on their resume this year. Los Angeles Chargers. They've got some bad losses on their resume this year, okay? But it will be a great win for us to go into Arrowhead and beat that team, okay? So make no mistake about it. So all of those things being said, I know you go sitting there wondering right now, what is Uncle Fred going to think? What is his prediction? What's going on in that mind of his? Well, I'm glad you asked me that. Because when I put all those things through my thinking channels and I put all those ingredients in the thing and I stirred up right good. I got the Cowboys 31. I got the Chiefs 27. I got the Cowboys making a stop late in the game to preserve a hard-fought win in Arrowhead. Cowboys go to 8-2. Bang! There it is right there. Cowboys win 31-27 over the Chiefs. Look forward to seeing y'all next Sunday, 4:25 Eastern, 3:25 Central, right here, Arrowhead Stadium. Fox game. Was it CBS? I think it's a Fox game. Fox game of the week. It's going to be a good one. And your boy Uncle Fred going to be parked right there. Folks know not to bother me when the Cowboy game on. This one's going to be a good one. So look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Hopefully with a Cowboy win. Look for me to be dancing around like I always do when we win, And look for me to shoot you straight if we come up short. Because I'm going to do that, okay? But that's all I got from the desk of Uncle Fred. And giving you all the news and the previews and all the news that is and of the Cowboys and all the other things. That's all I got today. Look forward to seeing y'all on tomorrow, hopefully with a Cowboys win. That's Uncle Fred, and that's all the time I got. God bless y'all. Y'all stay safe. See y'all on tomorrow.